Hey y'all. You remember me. If you don't, I'm Kristen Van Ness. I work as the academic advisor in the Human Development Family Sciences program. And as promised, I wanted to introduce Kim Larrabee, the coordinator of our early childhood program. She's awesome. She has been a friend and colleague of mine for years. And she's going to try to sell you this program. And I want you to actually let her do so because she has a lot of really good things to say about it and wants to kind of break it down for you, give a little bit more information. So Kim, thank you so much for joining me today. I know the students are really excited to hear from you. So can you tell us just, what one or two things that you want to start with about this program for them?
I can. Hi, Kristen.
Hi.
It's really nice to be here. And it's nice to be talking to students while I'm not with you in person. It is really nice to know that you're finding out something really important in terms of an opportunity for you here on campus as an undergraduate student at the University of Connecticut. So the department itself has, and I know Kristen has spoken about this, has 10 different pathways. And those pathways, one of those pathways includes the early childhood specialization. And so that's what I'm going to talk to you about today, and how that, a little bit about how that works, and a little bit about how you can get in touch with either Kristen or myself if you find that as you're listening to this presentation today, you get really excited and motivated, which is what we're hoping will happen. So we have a short PowerPoint that Kristen will put up, and you'll still see us.
Yeah. Because Kim, one of the things that a lot of the students get concerned about is that, like, am I still going to be an HDFS student? Will I still be earning this degree? Is this a separate school? Is this a separate program? So just clarify that real quick for us.
So in looking at the first slide, I think it's important to realize that the early childhood specialization takes place inside of the Human Development Family Sciences Department. And while there are really great new articulated pathways for minors, the majority of our students are HDFS majors, so that you would, at the time of graduation, you would graduate with a degree from the university, from the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences in the Human Development Family Sciences Department with a specialization in early childhood.
So basically what you're saying is, like, they first become an HDFS major and then they would apply into the program where they would just kind of take a whole bunch of classes in this particular area. So they become an expert that is distinguished from your typical HDFS program, right?
Yes. So your course is those 12 credits that are that help students distinguish themselves within inside of the program are going to be geared entirely toward early childhood.
So let's go through some of the information that you have here, and we'll remind everybody that this will be available for you to look through on your own. Kim's going to share this. We're going to have this for you, and then definitely follow up with either one of us. Honestly, Kim's going to be your best friend to have, like, the real deep conversations about what you want to do with this, careers that you can pursue, etc. But to learn more just about HDFS as a major, how this all fits together, you're welcome to come and schedule with me. And the good news is we're both on Nexus, so you can just go in and find us and just schedule an appointment that works for you. Like Kim mentioned, here are the 10 possible career paths. Basically, it just means, like, what do you do with this degree? Early childhood is being one of them. And tell us a little bit about what students who go into this program do. Like, what kinds of careers do they pursue with an early childhood concentration?
That's a great question, because I think there's some confusion around going into early childhood that it's so specific that you could only be someone who's in a classroom. But the truth is that is one of the options, definitely, and that it was really the primary sort of option when this program started many years ago. But as it's unfolded, what I'm seeing a lot more are people who are either doing a double major, and they may be majoring with speech language hearing sciences, or they're an allied health major, so that we're, they're coupling these. But even if you just are going to do an HDFS degree, you can still then think about, as you're moving forward, speech language, physical therapy, occupational therapy, family law, policy. Our new director just came on board, and her whole sort of background is in policy, pediatrics, nursing, neonatal nursing, child life, social work. And when we think about all of these possible choices, the thing that you really want to be thinking about are, I'm interested in this. How am I going to get some experience to find out if that's what I really want to be doing with my time? And I think the program is, you can go to the next slide, Kristen, we really start to look at, like, how do I want to work with children and in what capacity? So on campus, there is a child development laboratories, which when I first say that to people, they think it's a little, how are we studying children? But it's very similar to, if you can imagine, any early care and education center, except for it's considered to be a model program. Mm-hmm. And so lab schools have been around for years, and many universities have them. And it just so happens that UConn's Child Laboratories is the oldest child labs in New England, and is considered pretty much the most highly distinguished in many ways. But if you consider coming into the program, you can have up to 3 supervised experiences working with children between the ages of 6 weeks and 5 years. And we can guarantee you that in those experiences, you'll have an infant or toddler experience and a preschool experience. So you're really going to see that wide range. And we have children that begin in our infant program at 6 weeks old, 6 weeks in a day. And so that I know. And so you will have an opportunity to see the child labs, not this semester, but next semester. So that's a big seller when we see those infants and toddlers and preschools in real time.
Well, and you know what, the point that Kim's making is amazing, because that's one of the things that our students really, really loves, is they get to do the hands-on stuff, right? Like HDFS, definitely, it's so important to have good theoretical background. It's so important to read and understand the science behind all this. But then at the end of the day, it's in the doing, right, Kim? Like, it's in the interacting. It's in that holding that little baby, that 6 week and 1 day baby, where you might realize, this is exactly what I want to do forever, or maybe I just want to have one of these, but not work with these, right? And I feel like when I do, then, you work with students, I work with the students, and they might learn so much and say, yeah, I want to pursue this. And it's because of the fact that they got to do something right away, even before they earned that degree.
That's right.
They were able to feel solid about the choice that they were going to make.
And I think we really focus on the idea of, and we really focus on the idea of what's happening inside your body when you're in the presence of children. So that, it may be that you don't have, coming into the program, an interest in being with children all day long in an educational setting, but you may be thinking about pediatrics or family law. And so to have the experience of actually being with children, holding an infant, I've said to people who are interested in going into pediatric nursing, there are people that they won't even hold an infant until they're in their rotation in nursing school, as opposed to having this sort of slow, patient, very guided experience being with young children. And I think it really distinguishes our program in that way. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go forward. But yeah, you're right, Kristen, exactly.
And so, are we going to then now talk about the classes that they get to take, or just kind of show them that they have the 2 different tracks, the education one, if they do want to be in an educational setting, or the ability to specialize in the development? Do you want to talk about the classes now? Do you want to invite them in for a conversation to learn more about that?
So I think the next thing, Kristen, is I don't think we'll talk about classes just yet. I think that's something that is done better, whether they're talking with you or me directly. I think maybe we get to what are the benefits of coming into the program.
Sounds like a great idea.
Okay.
All right.
So
You.
here we are with the benefits. Well, and there's a lot, so this was a slide that was kind of difficult to build because there's so many additional benefits, but I'm going to go through these. So you can have up to 3 supervised field experiences in a model lab school. And as I said, in infant, toddler, and in preschool placement experiences, which in terms of other lab schools, with the exception of Brandeis, we're the only school that's got an infant toddler program, an infant program. So to be working with really the youngest population, it really is. And you get a dedicated early childhood faculty member as an advisor. So if you're an HDFS major, you would have Kristen, and you would have, and me, might be the 2 of us.
Yeah.
There are 4 other early childhood, or 3 other early childhood faculty that do advising. So it would be one of the 4 of us, but Kristen would always remain in there as well. Yeah.
So they come to me for like their general stuff if they needed to, just sort of like 4-year planning, et cetera. And then they also get the benefit of working with y'all, who then plans out their steps through the program. And so it's so nice and soothing and anxiety reducing. So you don't even have to worry about what you have to take.
When you leave your advising meeting with one of us, you essentially leave with a plan till graduation in terms of what you need to do our program. And then we're always looking at what are all those other courses that we need to plug in. And so, Kristen and I have an excellent partnership, clearly. And that same partnership will happen with your other advisor, if you get another advisor as well. But yeah. So one of the things that I know students get anxious about, and I'm so happy to be able to say, is that so you have reserved or guaranteed seating in any one of the early childhood specialization courses. So when we set up that plan for you, you never have to think, oh, in my second semester of my junior year, I'm doing my practicum. Is that course going to be available for me? Or is my child development course going to be available for me? It's very clearly articulated from sort of beginning to end, and you're guaranteed a seat in any one of those classes. So that relieves some anxiety. So I want to talk, just to kind of end the presentation a little bit with, what do you have at the end? You have a specialization from a highly recognized, distinguished early childhood development and education program. And so you're graduating from one of the top public universities in the country. I know that the rankings came out, we're the top 25. And the program itself and our students are spread out all over New England. And we have some direct pipelines to Harvard's early care and education centers. We certainly are tied in with different graduate programs. And so when another institution, whether it's graduate school or an employment opportunity, sees where you've been, there's like a door that sort of opens for students that's really remarkable. And so if you're at UConn, and Kristen understands this, there's a way that you really want to be utilizing your time effectively. You want to be making choices that help, one, to give you a sense of confidence because you're actually competent at doing something. This is a training program, so that when you come out at the end, you actually have something that you can offer, but you also have something that in your heart that you've accomplished. And so, like I'll say to students always, I can tell you all of these benefits and all these things you're going to get, but the one thing I can't totally give you is what is that feeling of confidence that you have when you complete the program.
And Kim, I gotta really echo that, because the students that I work with right at their senior year, those that come back and chat with us after they've graduated, the maturity, that feeling of knowing what they're doing, knowing something more about themselves, it's like you watch it happen from the beginning of the program to the end, and it's great to really see and to know that they feel comfortable, they feel like they know what they're doing. It's just you can't match it, and I'll tell you, y'all, if I could go back and redo all of this, right? Like every time I go to Kim's presentations, I practically want to join the program myself because it just seems like such an incredible opportunity. So if you really have thought at all about working with young kids, if you've ever had an interest, I definitely want to invite you to meet with both of us. Really go check with Kim. Like she said, she'll go over the classes in detail so that you feel confident in understanding what the program's all about. I'll go over everything and make sure that you understand that you can graduate within your timeline. We're here to support you. We want you to get the most out of your education that you can, and we want to be able to have a good time with it too. And so, Kim, thank you so much for chatting with me today. I think that it's been so great to hear from you specifically, so that now they know who they're going to be meeting with. They can see that little friendly face and take some of the scary out of it. So, like, I just want to just confirm again, Nexus, that's where your appointments are, so they can just jump on in there, look you up, and schedule something, right?
Yes, that's the best way to do it, Kristen. And we have this last final slide that just says, I'm interested. How do I get started? This slide will be found in a short PowerPoint that will be inside your Husky CT site for the class in which you're seeing this. So you'll be able to find this information again. But as Kristen said, we're both in Nexus. You can find us there. And I'm going to set up a couple of informational sessions. So if you find that this is something you're interested in, you may have a friend who might be interested in this as well. Bring that person. The more the merrier. And so Kristen is a wizard, and so she can set that up in Nexus for us.
What a high opinion you have of me, Kim.
I do. I really do. It's right up here, out of the screen. And so as you see, there's a number of ways to get in touch with us.
So for the info sessions, they'll either email you to sign up or look for that email from me about the event on Nexus. And because it's virtual, the sky's the limit. As many people can attend, right? We're not limited by room size. So, right. Yeah. Even if you just have an inkling that you might want to know more, probably come by, right?
Yeah. And, you can join up for an info session, or you can contact me individually. If this is something that it's already firmly on your radar, you're not confused about it, and you want to just get together individually, that works too. So.
Great. Well, Kim, thanks so much. And we all look forward to meeting you, and hope you all have a good day.
Thanks, Kristen.
Thanks,
Bye,
Kim.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.